What I wanted to do is I'm going around to all the stores and kind of talking about February a little bit, kind of talking about where we're getting our opportunities from. So those of you that are over there, I'll try and talk loud. It's a full house here with all three stores. So this is my 35th February. I think that makes me the expert on it. What I can tell you after 35 February's, because I started when I was 18, so now you guys know how old I am. But it's a grind, man. It's your toughest month of the year, right? So, and what I found with February is if we're not executing and making sure that we're going through the proper things every day, you can miss a day, you can miss 2 or 3 days, and then it just kind of dominoes, and then you're wondering at the end of the month why I missed it by 30, 40 points, right? Of what you normally do. So what I've been trying to do is go around to all the stores, talk about strategizing, talk about the things that we've been doing really well, and then really drilling down on things that maybe we're not executing at the level we need to for February. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And that's it. So I'll start off with the sales process. We'll spend about 15, 20 minutes just going through it real quickly at a high level, and then we're going to go right into the opportunities and kind of drill down on that, where we're getting them from. All right, we will get started. So talk about the sales meeting. We'll pick on the BuyDirect guys a lot since they thought they'd show up late. So Wes, tell me about your meet and greet. Tell me how it's supposed to be.
Good body language, posture.
Yeah.
Get out there and meet them when they get out of their car.
Right.
Yeah, friendly. Yeah. Introduce yourself, welcome to BuyDirect.
Yeah. I mean, guys, we got to remember that they have lots of choices now. Most of them are on the internet before they get here. And when they come into the dealership, our display needs to be really important. Our parking needs to be really important. They need to be able to walk in the store. Now, you guys are lucky because all three of you guys have great facilities now where they walk in and they do get a professional sort of feel. But the greeting is really important. So in the first, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, we want to walk up to them and welcome to the dealership. Now, I always use this example. Some of you may have heard it already. Keith, if you were inviting me over for supper, right? What would you do ahead of time?
Make sure the place is in good shape.
You'd clean up your room?
Glasses out, clean the bedroom.
Okay. You wouldn't leave a whole bunch of stuff on your dining room table from food from the night before? No. Okay. So your desk would be clean, okay? Or in this case, your house would be clean. And then when I drove up to the door and basically my wife and I, let's say you invited my wife and I, and we got out of the car and we were walking up to your house, would you be laying on the couch watching some NFL? What would you be doing?
Just greet you at the door.
So I'd walk up to the door, you'd open the door and you'd say, "Welcome, come on into my house." Correct? Now, when I walked in, would you just let me go into is that your bedroom over there? No, what would you do?
Get you a drink.
Okay, and then you'd say, "Come over here and grab a seat on my couch," right? And then would you make sure you knew what I liked for supper?
Yeah.
So would you be serving fish if I was allergic to it? Okay. Would you be, would you know whether I drink red or white wine? Would you say, "Hey, do you want a glass of white wine?" And I say, "No, I don't like white wine, I like red." Would you make sure you knew ahead of time what I liked?
Yeah, preparation, of course. Yeah.
So part of the preparation for it is going to be to make sure that I know that you know some of my favorites, you know some of the things that I like, and then ahead of time when I get to your house, you're going to be like, "Okay, this is what I've done for you. This is my preparation." I'm going to serve, most likely when you have a guest over, you're going to serve them the proper wine they like. You're going to have maybe their favorite drink. You're going to have some food that you know that they like, and then you're going to make sure your house is clean. You're going to make sure that you welcome them properly. Maybe there's a little music on the side, but there's going to be a really great vibe when they walk in, right? So that is kind of the analogy that we want to give our clients, and we call them guests now when they come in. It's the same way when they come into our dealership, especially for those appointments. So the meet and greet's really good. If you don't know the person, it's a fresh customer, but if it's an appointment or you're dealing with them for the second time, it should be like that scenario when you invite them over to your house. It should feel really welcome. "Wow, you're back here today. Awesome. Thank you for coming back." And you're rolling out the red carpet for them. So when we kind of go around the room, how do you think we're doing on that as far as the red carpet?
For appointments, I think I personally do quite well.
Yeah.
I do whatever I can to
Yeah.
prepare in terms of water, coffee, have an idea of the product.
Yeah.
Make sure my desk is organized for them. With Fresh Up, I could be a little more attentive. Making
Okay.
sure my desk, even on busy days, middle of the day, is always
Okay.
unexpected up.
Okay. Now, Keith, going back to you, would you make sure that you knew my wife's name? Would you make sure you knew my son's name? What's my son's name? He's going to come with us.
I'm terrible with names.
He's 13 years old. What's his name?
I forget. I know Teresa.
Logan. Okay. Now, my point of that is that when we have appointments, you guys got to do your homework, man. If you haven't done a really good job reporting ahead of time, you're missing the opportunity. So think about it. If you invited someone over to your house, would you know a little bit more about them? So it's no different when you're inviting them into this, which in some of you is your second home, right? You're here a lot. So now you're bringing customers into your place of work. Do we know enough about these customers when they're appointment? Do we know enough about them after the second time we've dealt with them and now they're coming in to buy a car? And that's what I want you to drill down on a little bit, is when you're giving these people a proper meet and greet, do you know enough about them to do it properly? Because everybody knows how to give someone a good handshake and look them straight in the eye. If you don't, then there's something wrong. But what about the personal stuff after? What about saying, how's Logan doing? Is he not joining us? All those type of things, right? So again, proper meet and greet, but I'm really drilling down on, if you know the person, make sure you know a little bit more about them, okay? So after we get a real good meet and greet, what are we doing then, Malik?
Sitting them down, doing our desk sheet.
Okay. Now, let's just go around here. Where's some more BuyDirect people? Oh, they're all hiding back there. I can't get to you. If I went like this to you and said, meet me in my office in 5 minutes, and then turned around without saying anything to you, which I might do later, what would you think?
Go.
Probably in trouble. You wouldn't be like, oh, wow, John's giving me a raise. Okay. So my point on this is, guys, if people don't know what to expect, they expect the worst. Okay? So every part of our process, we need to tell them what's next. So again, you do a proper meet and greet, you want them to come to your desk. What's the benefit and value in that? Right? So we need to explain the benefit and value to the customer. Hey, listen, what I'd like to do, it's really important to me. I take a lot of pride in what I do. I'd like to spend a little bit of 3 to 5 minutes to get to know you, go through all your wants and needs. Come on with me. Right? So we need to tell them what's next. Well, customer might say to us, you know what, I don't want to go to your desk. I just want to go look at the car. Well, what this is going to do is allow me to spend 3 to 5 minutes to make sure I go through all your wants and needs with you. Proper identify everything, right? So, and that's why, like I said, with our processes and with our sales process, we want to make sure there's benefits and value to the customer, and there's what's in it for them. So, so Chad, what are some other things? What are some other reasons that we want to, Chad Horton? What are some other reasons that we want to bring him to our desk for?
One is control.
Yeah.
Right? Being able to, command the situation, show them they're professional, and possibly save them some time.
Make sure you're. Yeah. So the two things that consumers want, okay, when they come in here, most of them, we know this through our surveys, doing it all, is that we know there are two big hot buttons. They want to save time, and they want to save money. So if you're drilling on both of those, now, doesn't mean that they don't have motivators that are more than that. They want great customer service. They want a lot of great things. But the two big ones that we know that are the commodity that they have, the tangible, like this is mine, don't mess with it, is time and money. So when we're talking about that, and I'm bringing them to my desk, I'm going to say what I'd like to do is, because I'm able to do this, I'm going to save you some time and money. So that's why we're doing the guest survey. Okay, so that's another important. So like I said, we're going through the process real quick. Now, what's on the guest survey? What's the new salesman in the back's name, first name again? Pardon me?
Vince.
Vince. Sorry, Vince, I should know that. Vince, tell me what is on the guest survey.
The guest survey has personal information on it.
Yeah.
It has if they have a trade or not, all the information on that. It has how they heard of us, were they a referral, or did they see us online? And then they have what is most important about a car to you.
Right. Okay. You got the $1 million question. There is one really important question on there. There's not 50 questions, and it says, what is the most important feature you're looking for? Right? So we got to nail that. Did you have something to say, Smits?
You didn't miss credit.
Yeah, there is a credit box at the bottom as well. And, you know, so we're going to go around the room getting information. Make sure you're getting all these when the people are in the meeting, okay? Leah, Len? When we're going through this, so what are the type of questions we're going to ask Chad?
Well, obviously, I'll start with the one on the gas sheet. What is most important in the vehicle?
Okay, but I'm looking for what kind of questions?
Oh, open-ended.
Open-ended questions, okay? Everybody know what those are? How many is there? 7. Spencer's been, he's a veteran now. Okay, there's 7 open-ended questions, okay? They're who, why, what, when, where, how, which. Okay, so we're going to go around the room, starting with Chad Horton. I want an open-ended question with one of them. Okay, Chad? Here you go.
Who will be registering the vehicle today?
Vince.
What's your favorite feature in your vehicle now that you want in your future?
Nice. Keith.
Who's the main driver?
Nice. Chad.
What are you looking to accomplish today?
What were you trying to accomplish today? Good one. Jared.
How long have you been thinking about upgrading?
I like it.
What's your primary use for your vehicle?
Nice.
Why are you in the market today?
Good. We'll go back now. You, Justin, in the back. Guys, try and daydream. I'm going to catch you when you're looking up there, guys.
How would you like to proceed today? Were you taking over time or buying it all at once?
Okay. Spencer?
When were you hoping to buy?
Selena? Open-ended question.
Are there any other decisions?
That's not open-ended. How, who, why, what, when, where, how, which. I'll come back to you. You think about it.
Back to me.
Open-ended question.
How far do you drive in here?
Nice.
Where will you be taking a trip in this new car?
Nice.
Yeah. How many people do you need to have room for?
Perfect.
What in particular led you to a Hyundai?
Nice. Back to you. Think of an open-ended question. Starts with who, why, what, when, where, how, which. There's no free passes today.
What is your current vehicle?
Why are you hoping to trade your current vehicle?
What color is most important?
What was that?
What color is most important?
Okay. Chad?
Yeah.
Help him out here. We'll come back to him.
Why did you come to buy direct?
Nice.
What kind of timeline are we working with today?
Good. Connor?
How did you hear about us?
Nice.
Who's the primary driver of the vehicle?
Nice.
Who's all making decisions and buying a vehicle today?
Nice. Chad?
How many vehicles are in the household?
Nice.
When are you planning to take your first trip with the vehicle?
Nice.
What is the primary use of the vehicle?
Nice. Selena?
What kind of features are you looking for?
Nice. It's not hard. It's an open-ended question that starts with who, why, what, when, where, how, which. We could go around the room for the next 30 minutes and I'd expect you to ask some questions. You can ask anything open-ended with one of those things. And you guys in communication, I'm going to share this with you. If you get really good at answering these questions, my wife tells me I'm not allowed to do it anymore. She'll be like, stop it. Don't nod your head and ask me an open-ended question. So just, this isn't going to work today. But you can get really good at communicating. You can get really good at getting information. You can get really good at motivating people. And we'll go around the room real quick. And the reason why I ask you these open-ended questions is so that you figure out what the person's motivators are. Does anyone remember what the 7 motivators, how people are? Spence, you've been putting up your hand.
Yeah. Obviously, they have to accomplish objectives. We have to accomplish objectives, but traditionally, motivators are going to be like upgrading, credit.
We're thinking psychology. Okay, I'm going to give you a little hint here. Okay, people have 7 motivators. They usually fall into a few categories. Okay. The first one is power. Okay? So that's sometimes they need to have power. That's their motivator. Okay? A second one would be achievement. So some people, you know, it's very important, you know, their achievements, right? The third one is safety and security. So do you ever have a customer that wants to feel real safe and secure, right? So those are generally people that, you know, they want to have the extended warranty. They want to make sure that they know all the safety things on the vehicle, you know, all those type of things. Now, now that you know which way I'm going, what are some other ones? Chad, Horton, do you know?
I'm not sure security. You trying to comment on it?
Okay, affiliation, right? Okay. Sean, do you know these, buddy? You've been one of my guys that have been here with me the longest.
I had affiliation, but
Okay.
competition.
No. Do you know him, Connor?
I don't pick up.
Okay. Next one. Next one is freedom. Spencer, you know that one?
I fight for every day, John. but-
Okay. So freedom that's one of people's motivators. They don't want to be controlled. Okay. They don't like boundaries. Okay. They like to have freedom. Okay. Another one is social. They have to have lots of parties. They want to always keep busy. Chad, you know that one? Always social. Okay. That's one of your motivators. I know that about you. Okay. And then the last one is what, you know, I forget the word, but it's for so there's two more. Excitement is one, right? And the last one is stature, whatever you want to call it. You know, status. Yeah. So those generally are what are most people's profile when you're talking about motivators. So if you look around the room and you kind of, you know, think about it. So pick the person next to you real quickly and see if you can figure out, I want you to pick the top 2 or 3 that you think of what their motivators are. So what the goal, guys, is, it's not fun and games. Everybody knows who they are. You guys know what I am. Now that I've given them to you, I'm sure you can figure it out. You're going to pick, you do each other's. There should be probably 3 minimum. And then you're going to rate those 3 from first, second, and third of the person that you're talking to. And then we're going to share it after, okay? Real quickly.
We believe that's important to the person, the 3 most important ones.
You're going to, well, you're profiling them.
Yeah,
So you're guessing, and then they're going to confirm if that's the case.
Awesome.
Okay? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, rank 1.
Okay.
Sorry, top 3 you said?
Top 3. So I gave, everybody wrote down the ones that I picked, gave you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not there's no bad ones here, guys. If someone's really likes stature and wants to drive a Bentley, that's not a bad thing.
Let's go. I'll go first.
What's that? Okay. All right, guys.
Okay, let's go.
All right, we're going to go around the room here real quickly.
I'll leave the charge.
So, Mike, who are you with?
I did both.
Okay, so pick one of them.
One of them. Okay, I'll pick Aaron.
Okay. We're doing the Iceman. What 3 do you think are his most important motivators?
I think it's status, social, and affiliation.
Okay. And Aaron, when you rate yourself,
Yeah.
what did you think?
Power, freedom, and association.
Okay, so he got 1 right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay.
I did Mike. Let me do Mike.
Yeah, you did Mike now?
Yeah. Power, freedom, and safety and security.
Okay. And which ones did you pick?
For myself?
Yeah.
I
Is he
didn't
right
do
or
my-
is he wrong?
I didn't do myself, but it sounds about right.
All right.
I think achievement would be one for me.
Okay. Chad Horton, what would you say my 3 are?
Your 3.
Yes.
I would say achievement,
Yes.
safety and security, and social.
Okay. There's 0 safety and security.
Oh, something like that.
Right? Justin, what would you say? For me.
For you,
Yeah.
I would say similar to Chad did, but I would say power,
Yeah.
achievement,
Yeah.
and
No freedom. Power, achievement, and excitement are my 3. Okay? Those are the 3 things that really motivate me. obviously like to be in power. It's very important for me to achieve the things that I achieve, and I need to do that. And then I'm a guy that I get bored real easy. So I need to constantly, like, my brain just works really crazy where I always have to have something on the go. That's why I travel a lot. That's why I do a lot of things, right? So we won't go through all the room just in the case for the sake of time, but I did want you guys to kind of learn how to do this because it's going to help you guys even through your personal life. It's going to help you guys. You should know what you are. You should know what 3 you are. If you don't, then really think about it, because that's how you're making your decisions. And it's not bad being safety and security. We have lots of employees in the room that their number one is safety and security. That's okay. That's good. But just know who you are.
And they work upstairs.
No? There's some people in the room that have that. There's some people in the room that have that, guys. It's okay. It's okay. Some people are freedom. Some people are achievement. Some people affiliation. Affiliation's good. But it's kind of, once you figure out which one you are, it could help you understand why you make some of the decisions you make, right? And it's really important when you're dealing with people, not just selling stuff, but even your wives. It'd be good to know what your spouse's is, and stuff like that, right? So, Trina is a safety and security. She likes lots of security. When we make decisions, she asks the question. She challenges me on that because I'm not that. I'm the risk taker. So it's kind of a good balance when you have a partner like that, right? Okay, you guys get where I'm coming from? So I just wanted to share with you the reason why I shared that with you on the 7 motivators, and so you actually had an exercise to kind of help you, is because when you're asking open-ended questions and you're trying to get to know your people, it's also, once you start thinking about why we're doing things, why do we do the sales process, what's the purpose of all this stuff, it's to help you guys get to know your customers better, and knowing people's motivators is going to help you be a better salesperson and help you be a better communicator, right? So that's why we did that, okay? So we'll go back to the guest sheet. We ask some open-ended questions. Hopefully you guys get some good answers. Now, after you get a really good guest survey, what's next? Right here, sir.
After you get a really good guest survey, obviously you should have their ideal car for them.
Yep.
So you go get the car, make sure it's clean and ready to go, and have a good presentation ready for them.
Bzzz. That's not what you do next. Okay. What do you do next? Touch desk. Okay. Why do we touch desk?
So you might have a car in mind, but your managers always know best. They might be able to find a car that fits the customer needs perfectly, and that also gives the manager time to introduce themselves to the customer.
Okay. Yeah, great answer, guys. Okay, so we did this at Maple Ridge. You might have seen the clip on the hockey. Okay, I asked the question, and none of them knew how long a shift was in hockey, and it blew me away. One guy said 30 minutes, another guy said 7. So I'm hoping to have some people that know a little bit about hockey here when I go through these story analogies. So, Keith Richards, you will know the answer to this question. What is the average shift for a hockey player in the NHL?
1 to 2 minutes.
Yeah, or less, right? So generally 45 seconds is the average shift of all the hockey players. So we'll ask another question. Someone that knows hockey. Do you know hockey? A little bit, okay. What's your favorite player? Connor McDavid, okay. Connor McDavid generally starts the game because he's the best player and the fans want to see him. So he starts the game. Now when you think about it, the coaches already had their huddle on what they were going to do. They already had their pregame speech. They already have a plays. They would have went through, okay, this is our opponent. They probably watched some video ahead of time, and they're like, this is what we're going to do. Then Connor McDavid and the starting lineup are going, and they're going to have this great shift. And it's going to be about 45 seconds. And basically the coach is going to say, hey, listen, we want to get the puck down low in the offensive zone. I want to rub a few people. I want to see 2 or 3 hits that first shift. I want to get the puck down low in the zone. We want puck control. We want it in their end for the first 45 seconds to a minute of the game, because that is going to establish, could be the pulse of the entire game. So generally that's what a coach is, that's what he's coaching the first game, or for the first shift. That's really their goal in the first shift. He doesn't say, hey, you have to go score a goal. He's saying he wants puck possession in the offensive zone in the first 45 seconds. That's pretty standard. I'm not Scotty Bowman up here, okay? That's generally what the coach is going to tell them the first shift. So they're going to go ahead and do that. They have a plan. They're going to go ahead and do that the first shift. And then at the end of his shift, what happens?
Comes off, second line comes on.
He comes off and he goes to where? Chad. Where does he go when he's off his shift? On the bench. Who else is on the bench? The coaches. All right. Do you guys get the analogy here?
Yes.
So, the meet and greet and the guest survey is your first shift. It's not rocket science. This is your first shift. Do it really well. You're going to come back to the bench. You're going to talk to the coaches and say, I executed the plan. My customers are happy. I've made them smile. I know a whole bunch of personal information from them, and I know what's most important to them today. That's your first shift. It's not rocket science. And then the coach is going to say, great job, high five, okay, let me see, awesome, here's some suggestions I have for our second shift, but I do want to come out and meet the customer. Okay, and that is what our goal is for this first part of our strategy and our sales process. We want to give great customer experience. That's why the manager's coming out. He hopefully knows a little bit about the customer, and any personal information that you can get is really important for the manager to come out, because we want to give that personal experience. We want to get, that we want the manager to connect. And the reason why we also do that, it's called second phase. Our strategy is second phase, because what happens if you and the customer maybe didn't hit it off okay? Do you think in the hockey game there's ever some first bad shifts where maybe they turned over the puck? Think that happens? Right, it happens all the time. So it's no different with us. Sometimes things didn't click. Maybe the customer was a power guy like me and didn't like all these questions. And it's like, no, too bad. I just want to see the car. I want to see the Genesis, right? So then that's what's going to happen, where he goes through it, and and there's a little bit of pushback. So when the manager comes back, he's going to be like, hey, understand you're with Jared here. Awesome. Thank you for coming in. He's going to re-welcome to the dealership again. And he's going to be like, hey, you know what? Jared's going to show you the vehicle and go through it real well. I just want you to know I'm your second contact. I run the store, okay? And I'm here to make sure that everything goes smooth, including your deal, okay? And when we give that manager experience, it should allow us to have a better closing ratio, but more importantly, it's going to allow us to have a better customer experience. So that's why we're doing it. And that is what I consider the first shift. Okay? Everybody kind of get where I'm coming from? Connor, how well do you think we're doing that first shift right now? What are some things that you think that maybe we need to tighten up on?
I think we do it to a relatively high level at Cage.
Okay.
One thing that I would definitely like to see more of is getting that box filled in, as far as getting some more information from the customer.
Okay.
I think we rush that step sometimes.
Okay. Andrew, what about Kia?
I think we do it at a relatively high level as well. I think something that we've focused on in training as well is more finding out their motivators, finding out that
Okay.
aspect of it rather than exactly what they're looking for, but why they're looking for it.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
And how well are you executing the manager turnover?
100%.
100%? Okay. Chad, how are we doing at Buy Direct on these things?
Really good, actually. You guys will be customers of Soccer with the guest sheets filled up, say 80%. The 20% would be, I'd like to see more emails, and the bottom half of the trade box. A lot of times they skip the make, model, year, kilometer, and then forget to ask the rest.
Okay. Okay. So again, the guest sheet, guys, we're going to go through it. I just want to make sure that you guys, open-ended questions, there's lots of boxes on there. We want to know what their trade's worth. We want to know why they bought. Now, if they're a repeat customer, we have a lot of that data, so it's real important. If it's an appointment that you have ahead of time and stuff like that. So, and then we did a really good guest sheet. The manager came out and met the customer, welcomed him back, did the little touch-up. Justin, what's next?
After that, more vehicle selection.
Yep.
Going back, you have a huddle, pick the car, pick
Yep.
it up, and create some good sheets.
Okay, so we're going to do vehicle selection. And what are we going to do when we bring it up?
Do a lights out walk around, touch on every hot button the customer told you about.
Okay. 3-minute walk around, right? Now, the other things when we're doing these walk arounds and we're doing these processes, we know that people process things 3 different ways, right? Does everyone remember what they are? You've done some training. Spence?
Look, feel, touch.
Okay, so visual. So that's the one where they say, show me that again. Can I see what you're writing here? Oh yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. Pick on the bidirect guys, okay, yeah. Then what's the second one? Audio. Tell me that again. What did you just say, Shauna, so I can hear it? Let me process that. What did you just say? And then what's the third one?
Kinesthetic.
Okay, so give me, those are the ones in the finance office that they got their phone out, they're calculating. Okay, maybe in the car, they're opening the trunk, they're wanting to know how to change the spare tire, they're crawling underneath it, they're doing all those things. And the reason why I say that, guys, is because visual, audio, kinesthetic, sometimes if we don't understand why we're doing the process, why we're doing and giving our customers these guest experience, we lose sight that we don't know which one, how they process. So Chad, I asked you my motivators, how do I process?
Your motivators are power, achievement, and
Right, but now how do I process? I told you the 3 ways people process. Do you know?
for you,
Yeah.
visual,
Yeah.
audio.
Okay. Yeah, so here's the thing, guys. I'm usually a visual. Sometimes I go into kinesthetic, but you never know. You never know. So you have to put them through all 3 in our process. So throughout the start of the sales process to the finish, we have to make sure they experience all 3. They have to experience the visual, they have to see it, they have to experience the audio, so they hear you, and then we want them to feel it. And that's why when we do the 3-minute walk around, we're showing them, we're getting them really good, right? We're showing them all the features, and the technology is really important. Like, we have so much that we can talk about now with wowing the customer that it's really important. Michael, after you do a 3-minute walk around, what's next?
You will start the test drive.
Yep.
On the test drive, you're going to build mental ownership.
Right? How?
You're going to shut up.
When you're driving, though. You're driving first.
When I'm driving, I'll talk about the hot buttons on there,
Right.
and then I will build mental ownership.
Yep.
You're speaking how this will fit in their garage, how this fits their lifestyle.
Okay, nice. Stacks, anything else on the start of the test drive?
Well, you're going to drive first and foremost.
Why do you do that?
A, it just shows that we still have control, and B, people want what they can't have, and it just shows that this vehicle's still ours. And I want you to envision me driving it, so there's some anticipation there.
Okay, and the primary reason is because we don't want them having anxiety driving a vehicle that they've never driven before with all the new technology, trying to make a left turn, then a right turn onto a highway. So the reason why you drive first is to let them feel comfortable and relaxed through the visual, audio, kinesthetic. You're taking control, and then they get to listen and hear and feel the vehicle first, because we know that's going to help them make a good decision. And that's when you're doing the talking, because if they're audio, they don't want you talking when they're driving, because they're trying to make sure they don't crash the car. It's a car they've never driven before. It would be not smart for them to drive first and then you to be doing this. They'd be like, please shut up. I'm trying to get out of here. I don't want to crash your car. So we have to think about that. So what we want to do is make sure that we drive first. We're going to say, hey, listen, we're going to tell them what's next. What I'd like to do is I'd like to drive first. Make sure we get out of this place. Give you a chance to really feel the car. I'd like to go through a few things while we're driving. I'm going to tell you a few of the hot buttons that you established are most important to you while I'm driving. And then at the end, we're going to switch over. I'm going to probably stay quiet. So if you're wondering, it's not that I'm not paying attention. The reason why I'm quiet is I want to make sure you have the vehicle. Feel free to ask any questions when you're driving, but I most likely will try and stay quiet. And the reason why we do that is so now they have control of the vehicle, and now they can decide what's next, right? So that's why we do it. So we start off on the test drive. That's when we're, like Michael Wu said, we're drawing, we're going to sell them, we're going to touch base with some hot buttons. Hopefully there's some personal ownership. And then when we come back, we're going to park, probably next to theirs and really find out, what the vehicle's rated at, and how do we usually do that, Chad Horton?
Scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
10 being Mark is trying to drive away right now.
Yeah.
And I showed you the actual raw vehicle. How do you rate this vehicle?
Now, this part is a little bit old school selling, guys, but I think it's really important. The reason why we're still doing this old school selling where we rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 is so that we just establish if it's the right car. We know that 8 or higher, that's a good number. We know that less than 8, we probably should go back to selection, especially with used cars. It's really important. You want a good number if you're trying to show them a used car, right? Generally, new gets you a high number because it's brand new, and generally because of all the research they've done, they kind of know what they want when they get here. So on a new vehicle, you probably should always have a high number, but it gets really tricky on used while we do that, okay? Okay, now I won't go into the rest of the process about the numbers. I think we're doing very well on that, but I wanted to talk about that. Now we'll just go around the room and get some takeaways on the first couple shifts there. Chad, any takeaways that you think that we can take away for Buy Direct?
Yeah, well, I really like the analogy of the hockey and the first shift. I haven't heard that before. I like that. One of the things I was actually speaking to Wes about yesterday was reducing your process and get rid of the stuff out of the pan. Like if you couldn't get the stuff out of the pan that's not needed, sort of speed stuff
Yeah.
up and be a little more efficient. So yeah, that's good.
Okay, make sure you're... Justin, anything you got out of it?
I would say just knowing hot buttons a little bit better, looking
Okay.
at the process in the back, just understanding what their motivators
Nice.
are, helps with selling products.
Good.
Adding that to the when we're doing
Good.
our guest sheets.
Yeah. Selena, anything?
I underlined the motivators, and then I actually like the idea of going on the test drive with people. I used to do that when I sold
Yeah.
cars, and I know I don't think that happens all the time.
Okay, nice. Brent, Hartle?
Motivators are big. Focusing on those could definitely help.
Okay,
Decide on the right products. So.
yeah. Spencer?
You know what?
Some takeaways?
What I learned today, looking back here, was all the 7 motivators, like definition-wise, like I have an idea of when people buy cars and why they want
Okay.
to do business, but it was nice to see the 7 things. It was also nice to identify Chad's 3 most important and my 3 most important. I was really excited to share, actually.
Okay, well, go ahead and share. Tell us.
Well, Chad can tell you guys mine, and I'd like to tell you guys Chad's.
Okay, let's do it.
So sales manager Chad, I believe his 3 most important motivators are freedom, achievement, and social.
Okay, and is he pretty,
He's pretty bang on.
is number 1 achievement?
Yes.
Okay, good. I like it.
And Spencer's are power, 1, 2, freedom, and 3 status.
Nice, okay. Vince, what did you, any takeaways from the first couple shifts? That you need to
Honestly,
tighten up?
Just to find out like more why they're wanting to buy. I feel like I don't kind of focus on that as much as I should.
Okay, nice.
That's something I want to try and do better in the future.
Cool. Keith?
Yeah, the who, what, where, which, trying to remember them all.
Okay,
Don't leave go.
okay. Chad?
Just to reiterate about how important it is for your first impression.
Nice.
Just like that, just keep it
Okay.
high and positive.
Jared?
I like just trying to figure out exactly what kind of motivators, because I've never really thought about what my
Yeah.
motivators were. Just
Yeah.
trying to figure out what each person's motivators are.
Now, the motivators, does everyone have the playbook? Who doesn't have playbooks? Do you have a playbook? Okay. Why doesn't the new guys have playbooks? Connor? Okay. Can you make sure that every one of your staff has a playbook? Okay. Like in the next 2-3 days? All these motivators are at the back. Okay. And when you're doing training, this is what you pull out. You pull out the playbook, right? And you go, let's go through this, right? All this stuff is all in my playbook, right? So just so you guys know. Okay, we'll go through a few more takeaways.
Big one for me is probably not overwhelming the customer on the test drive. I think
Okay.
sometimes I ask way too many questions, and I got to
Okay.
be more conscious of that.
Okay, good.
Sure.
Nice. Yourself?
Process remains important. It's
Okay.
February, it helps us sell cars.
Right.
Gotta
Yeah.
cut it down.
Yourself?
Putting myself in the customer's shoes, when you mentioned the customer getting anxiety when driving,
Yeah.
I see cars every day. It's a bit tough to
Yeah.
kind of.
Big thing is, guys, we're selling cars every day. They're not buying them every day. We really gotta start, thinking about, right? That's what I'm trying to do when you bring someone over to your house. All those stories are, so you start thinking the mindset of our customer when they walk in here, right? Okay. Yourself?
Yeah. One of the things that really stuck out to me was a little bit at the beginning that I really appreciated was if people don't know what's next, they expect the worst. So
Okay.
just communicating a little bit better what you're doing next and why you're doing it.
Okay.
Gets them more engagement.
Okay, a couple more. Wes?
Yeah, I like that, the signposting and just keeping your customers up to date on what's going on, so not leaving them hanging, and getting more personal information about them before they get there and during the whole process, just to build a better rapport.
Okay, Malik? Got lots of notes there.
Yeah, the idea of being suggestive when you're asking the open-ended questions, I thought that was something I just hadn't really thought about before. All of those are like pre-closes.
Yeah.
And if you're being suggestive in the right manner, they can
Nice.
be a step forward.
Okay, I like it. Yourself?
I personally, I think meet and greet for me, just, you know, creating that wow factor right
Yep.
away, standing out against my competition is
Okay.
probably the key.
Okay, I like it. Okay, we're going to go right into now where we're getting our opportunities from, okay? It's 8:43. I'll have you out of here by 10 after 9. Okay, but there was lots to go over. So I want you to write down where you think your opportunities are coming from. So obviously the first one, everyone needs to do it. The first one is very easy, fresh walk-ins. There's 8 other ones where you're getting your sources. Oh, I shouldn't have told you the number because some people only wrote down 2 or 3. Okay, but tell me where you think that all the opportunities are coming. For the managers in the room, they can try and give them an idea of what for their store, what they think. So if you're a finance manager, I want you to do it where you think the store is getting their opportunities from. If you're a salesperson, I want you to think about your last month, last 2 or 3 months, and we'll kind of go through them, okay? And then, Connor, I'm going to get you to come help me. Write them down, okay? When we go through it. Because you have neat printing.
Not that nice.
Okay, Spencer, how many do you have? There's no cheating. You can't look it up. This is not an open book exam here, buds. 6, okay. What did you have?
Fresh Shops, Social Network, which
Okay.
is like friends, family, whatever.
Okay, we'll go through it. So fresh opportunities. Give me one other one.
I did Social Network, like your friends, family.
So you want to talk about that circle of influence, okay? How about you?
Service.
Service. Okay, yourself.
Facebook/personal social.
Okay, social media. Referrals.
Circle of influence, my friends, my family.
He put that up there already.
Sorry. I like to get them from Lions. People are selling their cars. Oftentimes they haven't bought one yet.
Okay, well, that one's called database. Let's go database. Okay. Any other ones? Chad, Horton?
Well, internet leads.
Internet leads is one. Okay. Go ahead.
Is repeat?
Repeats one.
Sales call.
There you go. Who said sales calls? Oh, nice. Okay. Let's go with these 9. Now, I want you to rate yourself based on your results the last 3 to 6 months on what you're best at and what you're worst at. Because like I said at the start of the meeting, guys, I know that some of you are really good at 4 or 5 of those. And there's probably 1 or 2 in some of your cases that you're an absolute 0 at. Okay? Which is just, it's not that I'm mad at you, it's just I know that. And when I'm talking about February, my goal and challenge to all of you is that you're going to take all 9 of those and you're going to have a plan every day for all 9 of them. And you're going to dedicate time for all of them, not just the 4 or 5 of them. Okay? So, Stacks, you've been with us 7 years. Tell me your top. Let's rate them for
Sorry,
Stacks.
I had, I guess, a question more so regarding how good I am at executing them as I should be, or just how good I am once I am in front of that particular lead?
No, it's like how good you're executing, getting opportunities from all of these.
Gotcha.
Okay, so what's your number 1? Where are you getting all your deals from?
I would have to say a good chunk would be from the internet.
Okay, so that's number one. Okay.
Circle of influence would be a 2.
You're getting the second most amount of deals from your circle of influence? Really? So if I look at your 15 deals or 12 deals from last month, you're going to have 50, 60% of them from circle of influence?
I think that would still be a second after internet.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. I'd
How
go,
many from service did you get from last month?
Oh, none.
0, okay. How many fresh ups did you take last month? None?
A few.
Okay, so let's put that as a
Too many these days.
3, but how many referrals did you get in your last month?
2.
2, okay. How many deals did you get directly from social media?
1.
Okay. Database mining?
1.
Okay. But it's
Yeah, it can be executed
Okay.
definitely at a higher level. Service can be executed at a much higher
Repeats?
level. Repeats. I'm not reaching out to my existing database nearly as much as I should.
okay. Sales calls, you're not getting any, right? Okay. I bet that most of you are getting a lot from internet leads, fresh ups. Chad, what would you say your store is?
Sales calls and items.
Sales calls and iLeads. Okay, so basically the majority of what the dealership's bringing in. Okay, Andrew?
Yeah, I say that exactly.
Okay. What I'm saying is I wouldn't want to be in that position where I'm expecting all my business to come in from whatever the dealership providing. You won't hit your targets, man. You just won't. I mean, our traffic's going to be half as much in February than it is in June. The market's smaller. So if you're waiting to sell the same amount and you have bills to pay or whatever, like you're going to be waiting. So that's why I'm going around, is because February is a grind. We have to dedicate some time to service. And so let's go through that real quick. We'll talk about service. What's the process on service, Mike Ister?
Print out service leads.
Mm-hmm.
There's alternating days for myself. Sometimes I give them out to be called to the guys. I try to do it late in the day so they mind their own business, and then at the very end they kind of get a cupcake on top. Or when we need a big day and we struggled the day before, I make all the phone calls at the end of the day.
Okay. Here's what most dealerships do with service exactly like that. It's a bit of a half-pregnant process because we have, and I want you to think about it, the analogy behind it. We have 25 to 30 customers coming in your dealership every day. They've probably bought a car off us, but they're driving the product that we sell. And they're coming in to our facility, like your guest coming in your house. And we know for sure that someday they're going to buy another vehicle. We know this. They're not keeping that vehicle forever. We know that they're going to buy another vehicle. And yet we're having trouble executing service customers properly. So the proper way to execute a service customer is know ahead of time who they are and everything about them. And that's what most dealerships fail on. They don't take the time to go through the history of the customer that's coming in. They don't know how many services they've done. They don't know when they bought the car last. They don't know how much they've spent in the service department. And you shouldn't be calling and asking a customer for an appointment unless you know all that service data. And you have to take the time to do it. So before I give a sales call or a service customer to any of my sales staff, it's like that coach that I talked about ahead of the game. I'm not going to say, hey guys, have fun today. Shoot pass, score. That's not what coaches do before their big game, where they get up for it. They're like, this is our strategy. This is our plan. This is who's coming into our house today. And it's no different with service customers. So when we're getting those calls, you have to drill down and find out everything about that customer. We have all the data. Now you guys hear about technology with AI and everything. On your phones, they know everything about you, man. That's why you're getting the feeds that you're getting. Why are we not doing basic stuff? Like, we have all the history of the customer that they bought in service. We're not pulling all that information out before we welcome them to our store and say, hey, listen, I understand you have a service appointment on Saturday, calling them on a Tuesday, Mike, not on a Friday, and saying, hey, I know you have an appointment on Saturday. I've looked through your history. You know, it might be time to consider looking at a new one. I've also done some evaluations on your trade, and I'd like to sit down about 15, 20 minutes with you, and I'll have a vehicle ready for you. Like, have a proper strategy on these service customers if you want to execute extra deals. So that's a big one, guys, that I don't think we're doing at a really high level, where we have to start thinking about when we call these customers, do we have all the information? So that doesn't apply to Buy Direct, but it does apply to Kia and Hyundai. Andrew, do you get where I'm coming from on this?
100%.
Okay, we got it. It's your job as the manager, before you give the service customers, to go through it and find out. Mike, it's your job. Don't give out like just a whole bunch of names and say, go make an appointment. That's old school. You're wasting our database. You're burning through it. Connor, do you get this? 100%. We got to know the history, man. Mm-hmm. And there's a huge low-hanging fruit, especially in February. That should be 9 out of 10, man. You have half the amount of internet leads coming in. We should be a 9 out of 10 on service customers. There's 30 appointments a day. So do all the salespeople here at Kelowna Hyundai and Kia get this? I want you really strategizing on these service appointments. I feel there's a lot of low-hanging fruit. And you might find out that you don't want to phone some of them. It's not like I want you to phone some of them. What if the guy bought the car a year ago when he's in for his first oil change? I might want to introduce myself to him and have a coffee with him, because I know 2 years from now that he might be buying a car, and I might want to get in, meet that customer so I know him. But I'm not going to try and sell him something. I'm just going to welcome him to the store. So there's a whole bunch of different things, but knowing that information is what's key, okay? So we'll cross that one off, okay? The circle of influence. Who wrote that one down? Spence, tell me about circle of influence.
Circle of influence is any person who knows you past your first name, who knows any fact about you, any kind of connection with you. It doesn't just have to be your friends or family. It could be the girl at Tim Hortons, could be the lady at the mall, could be someone at the restaurant. It doesn't matter. Anybody with a house and a social insurance number can buy a car. If you're talking to them, they should be your friend. This is a numbers game. The more handshakes you shake, the more money you make. It's literally a fact. Don't know how to express that more clearly. I do, at this point, can say I drive 50% of my business from social network. I get my customers that I know through the door.
Nice. So circle of influence, guys. Friend, family members, where you buy, where you purchase your stuff, where you do business. I say this all the time. I probably sold more servers to anyone in the car business in Kelowna, because I make sure when I go to these fancy restaurants that I card the person and tell them who I am. And then sometimes 2 or 3 months later, I'll get a call back and they'll be like, hey, John, I'm looking for a car now. You told me you'd get me a good deal. And then I'll forward it to Connor or someone, right? And that happens all the time. But what if I wouldn't have gave that card out? So again, I'm dating myself here again, guys, because I've been in the business so long. But back when I was a salesperson, and it was a good lesson for me to help me with circle of influence, is they didn't call them a day off. He purposely called them a day on the road. So he said, your day on the road is Friday, Chad. I'd be like, what do you mean day on the road? That's my day off. And he'd be like, it's your day on the road. And I was a young whippersnapper, so back then I kind of took it literally, and so I went to him after and said, what did you mean by day on the road? What I mean is that's your day to prospect outside the store. That's your day to prospect. Get all your errands done, but just remember, I expect you prospecting while you're doing it. And I never forgot that. So I actually took it literally. So I went to the coffee shop, and back then coffee was cheaper. It wasn't $5 each, but back then it was like 75 cents. We're talking, in the 80s and early 90s, right? And so I had my cards, and I went up to the server and I said, hey, listen, there's about 40 people in here. How much would it cost me to buy them all a coffee? And just let me go talk to my manager. She said, so sometimes it was 20, sometimes it was 40. So I threw it down with all the cards. And then I did that, you know, every day. And I went to my boss and said, hey, this is my idea. Would you help sponsor me? And he's like, how much is it going to cost? I said, I'm going to spend about $200-300 a month. He goes, okay, I'll pay for half. And I was like, okay, this is good money. And then one day, no word of a lie, and this is about circle of influence and just getting you guys to actually do it. No word of a lie. This old guy came in, and you know, it was an old town, so there was lots of money there. The guy kind of crawled through and with the cane on, this, you know, he's like, pulls out the card and said, is John Cott here? And then this other salesman came running out of his office, running out and says, that's my customer. I've sold him his last 3 Cadillacs. And then the old guy looks at him and goes, yeah, but you didn't buy me a coffee. So the point is on that story, guys, is that you never really know, but you have to do it. So I want you to think about that day on the road thing on your day off. I want you to think about prospecting. Okay? It's a simple thing. You guys could go into a Starbucks and buy a few people coffee or give a few people cards while you're sitting there reading your book or whatever. You know, and it just, you know, or when you're restaurant carding the people, maybe where you get your laundry, you know, and I said this story before is have any of you ever had someone that came in that you knew buy a car off someone else?
Yep.
A few of you?
Worst feeling
Stacks?
in the world.
It's not a good feeling. Because you're like, geez, I was out with that guy a month ago, right? And I told this story. I had a next door neighbor. Same thing happened. He traveled on the road a lot, and my wife heard this story from the one of the other videos, and she was making fun of me. She goes, I don't remember you ever mowing the lawn. But anyway, I did mow the lawn once back in the day when I was a young man, and my next door neighbor was on the road a lot, so I ended up mowing his lawn as well. Okay, so we're mowing the lawn of his lawn. I'm mowing my lawn. I'm not saying it happened 100 times, but it happened a couple times. Okay. Anyway, we go on a vacation. I come back. I see a car different in his driveway. So I was like pretty on back then. So I waited till I seen him outside. I went out there and said, hey, what's going on, man? How are you? Yeah, great. I just got back from vacation. I couldn't help but notice your different car. What'd you end up getting? He goes, yeah, thanks, John. I went into your store, Barbara Motors there, and bought a car. That helps you, right? I'm like, no, it doesn't help me, but thank you for sponsoring my company. He goes, oh, no, you never really told me how it works, so I just went in there. And that's when that stuck with me. You never told me how it works. You never told me how it works. Don't assume your friends, family members, everybody you know knows how it works. You have to tell them. So I always remember that story, and I always make sure that when I'm communicating with my relatives, my family members, friends, my lawyer, I spend a lot of money with you, just so you know, this is my business. I can get you any new or used car. Same with my accountants. Same where I get my dry cleaning. I spend a lot of money there. It's important for me to let them know how I earn my living. So I want to really challenge you guys on circle of influence, because sometimes we're a little bit timid maybe, or scared to actually ask for the business and card them. Perry's going to be coming out with the new electric technology cards. He's going to do a little speech for those of you who don't have one, so that you can nowadays you can just give it to them and it can go right on their phone. And then you can have the other ones as well, right? But you guys get the story on the circle of influence? That's a good one. Social media, you also, which kind of ties into it. Are we getting some deals from social media? Some of you? Can I get an honest answer to everyone in the room who didn't get any from social media? Can anyone put up their hand? Okay. All right. All of you other salesmen got them?
I only got one.
Okay. Okay, guys, here's the big one. Technology is really big right now. It's really big, guys. It's part of the industry. You know, you look, if those of you, please follow me on Instagram if you haven't been following me, but you can see some of my stuff. I'm getting some of my, what are some of my videos getting? 60,000?
60,000, 20,000, 30,000.
Yeah, I have one that has 100,000 views. Like, it's getting your name out there. It's branding. It's not like I'm always trying to sell something. Sometimes I'm at a fun restaurant with some of you and I'm posting it. Some of you I'm doing training. Some of them doing other things. But the point is I'm getting my brand out. I'm getting a lot of circulation, and then people are reaching out to me and saying, it happened yesterday. Connor, did it not? Some guy from Alberta that knew me 15 years ago that's following me on Instagram came and said, hey, I'm looking at what was he looking for?
Palisade or Telluride?
Yeah, guy lives in Calgary. He says, hey, John, love your videos. Looking for this. I said, yeah, I'll forward you over to Connor. We had a new salesman at Victoria Hyundai. Very good story. He's actually Scott Barber's son-in-law, stepson, I should say, not son-in-law. His name's Austin. He just started there, a young guy. He's 23, 25 years old. Was going to university, hockey player. He knew how long the shifts were. Posted, hey, I just started at Victoria Hyundai, to all his university frat, people and all that. I think he said he had like 1,000 followers. A girl that he had never met before. But was a university student, reached out to him after that post and said, hey, listen, I'm looking for a new car. Can I come and see you? He sold a car his first day from a post on social media. So I really want to challenge you guys. There's some things we can do on social media. It's how-to videos. You want to do how-to videos on all the products. So I'm going to be challenging the managers to get all you guys doing it. That's going to associate you with the car business. So we want to do some how-to videos, and we can put them on our data feeds, but it's going to, it's going to put people to you as well. We want to do the how-to videos. The other thing on social media is a couple things when you're posting, and I don't know if Leanne had done it yet, and some of the other ones. First 3 seconds is really important. Okay? So if some of you are introducing yourself in the first 3 seconds, don't do it. The first 3 seconds, you either get their attention or you don't. They don't care who you are. They care about the content. So your first 3 seconds has to be important. So you're going to go through, whatever you're doing on the first 3 seconds. So when you're making a post, you have the first 3 seconds to gain the attention. Okay? Then the watermarks. So if you're doing from one platform and then trying to send it from another platform, and both companies don't own each other, they don't like that. They don't want to promote, a video from TikTok, from another platform. So you have to make sure they're different, okay, when you're posting videos, okay? So LinkedIn, Instagram, all that type of thing. Now, does anybody know what gets the algorithm? Does anybody know what gets you more, better algorithm?
Consistency?
Yeah, but what else? So if I post a video today, do you know what gets it more?
Immediate interaction.
Yeah, engagement, but what kind of engagement?
Share time.
Okay, so there's two things. Your goal is to have your video reshared or saved. Likes don't actually help out a lot. It's good to support your friends, it's good to support each other, but they're not going to create the algorithm to get more action, okay? And the lastly is that they watch the video in full. So like with Instagram, they're about 1.5 minutes, and LinkedIn, they're about 3 minutes. But if somebody actually watched the entire video, then it changes the algorithm so it sends it to more people. But so that's why the 3-second rule is really important. So if they only watched it a little bit and then they went on to something else, then it doesn't circulate as much, okay? I really want to challenge you guys to have a daily plan on social media. You should be dedicating time every single day, part of your plan, okay? Okay, referrals. Big one. Walk me through the referral process, Michael Wu.
At the end of your delivery,
Yep.
you're going to tell your customer
Yep.
that you take a lot of pride in what you do.
Yep.
In the next 5 days, you're going to call them. You want to ask them for a referral at that point, if anyone is looking for a vehicle for 3 to 5 months.
Yep.
And then you want to put them on your payroll.
Yep.
And let them know that a lot of your customers receive within $300 to $500 every month.
Okay, so here's what happens on the referrals. Everybody does that at the time of sale. Decent. Recording them, hey, blah, blah, blah. The problem is, and why we did a lot of psychology today is, so that you get to know how people's mindset are, know how their motivators are. They don't want to hear about referrals the day they pick up their car. We know that. We're planting the seed. You're not going to get a referral the day they pick up the car. You never will. If you do, you're lucky. It's a one-off. What you're trying to do is plant the seed on the referral, and then it happens on the 5-day call, where it's going to be like, hey, remember, Chad, when we talked about it, you went through a lot of stuff the day you picked up your car. You know, we went through technology. You had to spend some time in the finance office doing all that paperwork. So I get it. We went through a lot of stuff, and you probably weren't really focused on this. But a large percentage of my customers is repeats and referrals, and I really want to put you on my payroll. Some of my customers are making anywhere from $300 to $500 a month by helping me, helping my circle of influence, helping that. So what I'd like to do is just have you think about a family member, a friend, a coworker that might be buying a vehicle in the next 3 to 5 months. And guess what happens? You will not get any on that 5-day call. And that's where most of the salesmen end. And that's why we're not getting 30-40% referrals from some of you. Now, does anybody know the story about the bamboo tree? Connor, what's the story about the bamboo tree?
It's been a couple of years, but it takes a long time to grow.
Okay.
You have to water it every day?
Mike?
It's basically a seed that you have to water and water and water and water and water and water, and nothing really happens for a long time. You got to do it consistently. If you fail once, it dies.
Right.
So you have to do it really consistently.
Okay. I'd like you to all Google bamboo tree after the meeting. Okay? Here's how it works. You plant the seed. It doesn't sprout up for about 7 years. And I could be exaggerating a little bit, but you'll get the story once you read it. It doesn't sprout up. You have to water it every day. And then one day it sprouts up, and then it grows to be 9 feet tall. That's the gist of the bamboo tree story. It's the same with referrals. You will not get a referral when you first introduce it. You will not get it on the first call. You won't even get it on the second call. But after you've called them in 3 to 5 times, and you're not just asking for referrals, you're actually doing customer experience servicing of your customer and talking to them about their vehicle, and make sure they know how to set the nav, make sure they know how to set the phone, asking them if there's anything else you can help them. Maybe you even drive there on your way home someday and go through things again with them. And then 3 to 5 months from now, then they remember, because you've done it 5 to 7 times. And you remember, they're going to be having supper with the family member or a friend. They're going to be like, hey, I'm thinking about going and getting a car. And you're going to be like, you know what? I know this Chad Horton guy. He calls me every month faithfully and asks me how I'm doing on my vehicle. And he goes through all the technology stuff with me. He's a great guy. He's given me great service. He tells me about his referral program. Would you like me to set you up? I think he's a great guy. I'm sure he'll give you a great deal because we have a really great relationship. And then on that 5th month, I got a referral because of that. And that's the bamboo tree referral program. It's not going to happen at the start. It's going to happen after you've invested 6 months into the customer. And that's where we're missing the boat on referrals. So it has to be part of the game plans, Connor. Okay? We have to make sure that this right here becomes part of our daily plan. Every day, the managers should be talking about the referrals and talking about repeat customers and talking about the customers. Most of you have been in the business now for more than a year. 90% of the people in the room. Some of you maybe 6 months. But you have customers to talk to. And that's where we're going to get going on it, right? So that's a real important one. Okay? The internet leads, I'm going to go real through this because we're out of time. The internet leads is exactly the same thing on the bamboo story. We're really good on the first email. We're really good on the second email. We're really good on the third email. Then it fizzles. We're not disciplined enough. That's when the videos come out. That's when the car films come out. That's when we really got to get better and go after the customer that maybe sent an email 3 months ago and have proper follow-up. That's how we're going to always have things coming, right? And some of your boiler rooms. Maybe you dedicate boiler rooms to all past customers. And there's car films. And all you're doing is sending these personal videos. And you're trying to get more engaged with your customers, right? Okay, so that's the big one. Okay, that's all we're going to do today, guys, because I think I'm out of time. Is there some good takeaways there, guys? Okay. It's 9:13. All right, so what is February? Grind month. Okay. We're going to give out some door prizes. Okay, on the count of 3, we're going to yell out grind so that you guys really think about this. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Grind! That wasn't impressive. Some of you were not participating. Those of you that came late should be really participating. Okay? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Grind! All right, I like it. There you go. Keith Richards. Who was the first salesman here today? Who was the first salesman in the office in here today?
These two. I wasn't first, but I was most before.
I think it was you. I think you walked in first, didn't you?
I didn't have one.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, let's have a great day, guys.